Denver gets the go-ahead to sweep homeless camps without notice again. All the talk about access to abortion doesn't touch on the other challenges for women in Colorado. Nebraska's governor accuses us of pulling a fast one.
Now you can tell that Colorado's nervous about this.
Kids, tired of waiting their turn, take over the show.
Places, people, places.
And for 99 weeks, you've helped Coloradans all over the state through your Word of Thanks micro-giving campaigns. So let's go big for number 100. You do big things around here, because this is next. The Supreme Court can pull Roe versus Wade out from under women, and Colorado's access to abortion should not change due to state law. But our Anusha Roy starts us off tonight with a look at the more complicated situation for women in Colorado, where abortion is one concern, and so is child care, paid leave, maternal mortality, and the list goes on.
Consider the complexity of this issue.
Mari Foster is a licensed clinical social worker trained to look at the big picture.
And people have access to deciding how their family structures look, how this then impacts our communities as a whole.
The answer is it's all interconnected, even in Colorado, where lawmakers protected the right to an abortion at a state level. We start with access to health care.
They have to drive into a next county to get the care that they need.
Christina Walker is with Raise Colorado, focused on policies for pregnant people, infants, and caregivers. Colorado is in the process of setting up paid family and medical leave for January of 2024. And until then,
not even everyone is protected by the unpaid Family FMLA, Family and Medical Leave Act from the federal level. So for instance, I actually have a 3-month-old. I just had a baby and my husband didn't have access to FMLA. I did, but I had to use the pay that I had accrued over time because I didn't have paid leave.
Nationally, it's over 80% of workers do not have access to paid family and medical leave.
In 2018, there were around 255,000 kids under 6 in Colorado with working parents in need of some kind of childcare.
We actually only had in 2018 enough slots, so licensed capacity, to serve about 148,000 kids, which is only 58% of those children under 6.
It likely only got worse during the pandemic and doesn't take into account affordability and if people are working outside business hours.
So seeing this exactly with Roe v. Wade, this decision was originally made decades ago, and we're seeing rollbacks on it. The same thing happens when we make these significant wins at the state or local level.
So the other thing to keep in mind when you're talking about access to health care and what happens if you've got more people looking for care when pregnant is maternal mortality. It's impacting more minority women as well. Foster said that too many new moms have been lost to suicide, drug overdoses, domestic violence, and for kids who are experiencing that, especially at a really young age, that can lead to higher rates of heart disease, depression, and a whole host of other health issues as well that would affect them long term. So again, the question is what do we have in place to help these moms? CDPHE is working on community collaborations, improving, healthcare access and making it more relatable and accessible for moms, especially our minority moms. But it's an issue here in Colorado that kind of mirrors what's happening across the country as well.
I feel like these are not the kinds of issues that there's a lot of denialism about. It's
right.
Just how do you find workable solutions?
Exactly. And everyone I talked to said the state is trying to take these steps, right? They have passed laws to improve insurance. One of the things is Medicaid coverage for postpartum care that maybe wasn't there a couple of years ago for some of our moms. They also have opened up avenues to report issues with maternity care if it's not being done the right way. But again, they said these are steps, but we've got a long way to go in Colorado to really close that gap.
We'll keep the conversation going. Anusha, thank you. Like some kind of amateurish spy operation, secretly copied hard drives were handed off today. Copies of voting system hard drives made by Elbert County's Republican clerk Dallas Schroeder. Looking for election fraud, the clerk found himself in a lawsuit over accessing that information. A judge ordered Clerk Schroeder to give the physical hard drive copies to the Secretary of State by 5 p.m. today. Clerk Schroeder had refused to give the copies to Democratic Secretary of State Jena Griswold. A judge told him this was not up for debate. Spokesperson for the Attorney General's office says they received the hard drives on behalf of the state today, and they're looking to see just what they got. Clerk Schroeder and Mesa County Clerk Tina Peters admit that they copied their voting servers in an unsuccessful search for proof of election rigging. State law does require clerks to back up election records. That can be done without copying the whole server. Clerk Peters, of course, faces a felony indictment and possible jail time for the way that she accessed voting systems. If she has questions about prison, she could ask former Illinois Governor Rod Blagojevich, who's headlining a fundraiser for her Secretary of State campaign. For the low price of $1,250, you could be in the room as former Governor of Illinois, Rod Blagojevich, who served his prison time here in Englewood, Colorado, campaigns for Clerk Peters. The event is at Dunphin Castle, owned by the event sponsors Debbie and Mike Dunphin of Glendale and Shotgun Willie's Strip Club fame. Now, before you knock Clerk Peters' fundraising approach, you should know her new campaign finance filing today shows that she is seriously outraising her nearest Republican challenger for Secretary of State. It appears Pam Anderson is struggling to raise money as she tells fellow Republicans that the presidential election was not rigged. Nebraska's governor today said that Colorado is failing to allow enough water in the South Platte to get all the way to Nebraska. And he accused Colorado of trying to speed up our water projects before Nebraska can build its own canal to take some of that water. It could be 8 to 10 years from now. Last month, Nebraska's governor, Pete Ricketts, signed a law allowing his state to build a $500 million canal within Colorado. It would divert water out of the South Platte and take it to Nebraska. He says Nebraska has to do this canal to secure their water rights as Colorado's population grows. Colorado's leaders have questioned the need for some Nebraskan canal up in our water business. Governor Ricketts says he can tell that us greenies are getting nervous.
Because they keep bad-mouthing the project. Like, I didn't know Jared Polis, the governor of Colorado, was so concerned about taxpayers here in Nebraska. He's like, oh, this is a boondoggle, it's a canal to nowhere. He's never demonstrated that sort of concern for us in the past. In fact, he's actually really never talked to me in our governor's meeting until this project came up, and then he started talking to me more.
Governor Ricketts says Nebraska has a right to build this canal as part of a 1923 deal between the states. That deal requires Colorado to let a certain amount of water in the South Platte get to Nebraska during irrigation season, typically March to October. Nebraska's proposed canal would allow them to claim water in late fall and winter and early spring, and then store it for use in the summer. Federal Appeals Court has given the city of Denver the go-ahead to start sweeping away homeless encampments without much prior notice. The court sided with the city, using an argument that the city itself didn't raise. It's a move that a dissenting judge called an unprecedented mistake. Denver Homeless Out Loud, the advocacy organization, and several people experiencing homelessness had sued. They alleged that the city of Denver was conducting sweeps with only same-day notice. They pointed to a 2019 agreement that Denver had to give at least a 48-hour heads up before they swept along people's tents and belongings. A federal appeals court ruled that that 2019 settlement included language precluding the plaintiff from bringing claims for injuries which may occur in the future because of these sweeps. He said that that meant that the plaintiffs couldn't litigate their constitutional claim in the first place. Denver had never argued that in court. 2-1 ruling. They overturned a lower court injunction against the sweeps. The city attorney's office says they are going to continue to honor the agreement. Denver Homeless Out Loud says they're not following it anyway. You know what? On the day that I walk out of here, the thing that I will be most proud of is what you all have done through your Word of Thanks micro-giving campaigns. Tonight, we launched the 100th weekly campaign, 100 times that you have come together to support a nonprofit in our community. Not for show, not for accolades, for impact, real impact. You have raised $8.9 million, real money for nonprofits that really improve the lives of Coloradans. So let's do something special for your 100th Word of Thanks campaign. Let's partner with a group of women in our community who do something pretty similar. Each year, they pool their donations to make a large impact for nonprofits. They call themselves Impact 100. So this week, what we're going to do is we'll give together as a next community. Then this community of women philanthropists will do the same. And together, we will have an even larger impact on some exceptional nonprofits. That's right, nonprofits. More than one this week. A chance to give to more than one cause with just a single donation. Your 100th Word of Thanks micro-giving campaign will boost 3 nonprofits that are helping Colorado learn and grow. Every dollar split 3 ways. First, to the Learning Source, which helps adults in our community learn English or get their GED or improve their math skills. It's a pathway to self-improvement, to get a better job or prepare for college or succeed in Colorado. Then there's Volunteers for Outdoor Colorado. They rally volunteers to take care of this state's beautiful natural resources. From the city to the western slope, they plant trees, they do wildfire restoration, they protect habitats for wildlife, and they build trails. And then there's Mikasa Resource Center that supercharges ideas into entrepreneurship. They help women, minorities, immigrants, families with limited resources as they find success in their education, in new careers, and in starting their own businesses. She got the Learning Source, Volunteers for Outdoor Colorado, and Mikasa. 3 missions, all to improve the state that we share. So we're going to give together as the next community. Then the women of Impact 100 will come in with their donation, more than $100,000 of their money, and we'll give all 3 of those nonprofits a significant boost to expand their work. Let's do this. Scan the QR code on your screen or text the word THANKS to 303-871-1491. I'll send you that link. Each dollar donated will be split amongst the nonprofits involved. As always, I'll match the first 50 people who come in with $5. This is our chance, in celebration of your milestone, to triple our impact, to support both nature and our neighbors. Douglas County Schools says some of its students' private information was part of a data breach, but they won't say what info. And it's called youth theater. You know, though, there are usually adults in charge. Not this time.
And then my theater teacher said something that stuck with me. That was, if you don't see an opportunity, become the opportunity.
Kids run the show. Next. State legislators are making some changes to Democrats' plans to rush out those legally required tax refunds ahead of Election Day, so they can claim credit for it ahead of Election Day. $400 checks for everybody who files their taxes by May 30th. Legislators are tweaking that filing deadline to extend it to June 30th. Before you send anybody a thank you card, remember, this was money that was due back to you anyway next year under the Taxpayer Bill of Rights. It was moved up before Election Day because, of course. The personal information of Douglas County school students got exposed in a data breach at the school technology company Illuminate Education. It looks like Illuminate was recently targeted by hackers. They work with districts across the country. DougCo would not answer our questions about what student information is out there. They would only say it does not include Social Security numbers. The district sent letters home notifying families and said that Illuminate will follow up with suggested steps on protecting kids' personal information. Illuminate has told the school districts that it's not aware of any attempts to misuse that obtained information.
A chilly, gray day in May, but this storm system, while it will bring more rain tonight, is out of here tomorrow. We saw temperatures way below average in the 40s today. We're headed into the 60s tomorrow. Snow showers over the northern and central mountains, and that means that winter weather and travel advisories will continue overnight. Thunder, lightning, some of the heaviest rain on that I-25 corridor between here and New Mexico. But there's more moisture coming in, and we do expect some scattered showers by 7 or 8 o'clock, and those rain showers could turn heavy at times. Areas of patchy fog and then a sunny and warmer day tomorrow. We'll watch for temperatures to bottom out in the mid-40s and then top out in the 60s tomorrow, 70s Friday. Beautiful forecast for Mother's Day weekend.
A theater company full of middle schoolers takes the stage.
Let me paint you a little picture. It's November of 2020, and I was tired of not doing live theater.
They got the adults out of the way and got to work. Or play. Or both. Next. Kids doing theater's nothing new. My favorite show was Damn Yankees. We would have been lost if we did not have the adults in charge. The ones that pick the show and hold the auditions and direct the action. Well, there's some middle schools in Colorado tired of waiting on the grown-ups. They decided to take control of their own show. Katie Eastman, photojournalist Ann Herbst, show us what happened next.
That is what I need you guys to be good at doing. Your other job is communication, right?
When kids take on adult roles,
Last night we cleaned up for you guys.
the tougher parts of growing up
Stay over there then.
come with a quick learning curve.
Well, let's not do that again. Cool. Before you leave, you clean up your stuff.
The only adult in this theater
Dad, do you have a script down there?
takes direction from an 8th grader.
Dad, wait for blackout. What happened there?
Grayson Allensworth
What happened? I know.
leads a cast of his peers
Hey, Liam.
with authority.
What's up with lights there? And why are we not a preset? Liam, what happened? And as a director, it's like these are all my best friends, but you have to keep the friendliness like outside of this room. It's like all hands on deck. I'm a little bossy.
Oh, it's a sign up for the after school play.
Hold!
It's one thing for kids to take on a musical,
Here is what I want to happen.
another for them to create a theater production company.
Let me paint you a little picture. It's November of 2020, and I was tired of not doing live theater, and then my theater teacher said something that stuck with me. That was, if you don't see an opportunity, become the opportunity.
New Generation Productions had their LLC approved last week.
Do your line.
Grayson co-founded the company with 13-year-old Maya Eisbart.
I was watching this part from backstage. It looked really sad. You guys need to add more energy. So
She's the choreographer for the musical.
like the whole show is like on our shoulders, you know?
The third teenage co-founder is a little quieter.
Take your hands out of your pockets.
Ian Johnson took a step back from leading and focuses on acting in this production.
It was a little tricky at first, especially because, you know, I considered myself to be on the top level of the company, which I am.
It can be really stressful, but I think it's like really rewarding at the end.
The only thing that lies between your dreams and reality is action. So take the action. Theater teacher again. Love him.
They might play the part of an adult,
Let's get everything off. Let's just go.
but on the stage, these middle schoolers have no problem being kids. For Next, I'm Katie Eastman.
Be More Chill opens this Thursday in Inglewood at the Rocky Mountain Theater for Kids. The money that they make from ticket sales will be poured right back into New Generation's next production. It would appear that your amazing generosity has crashed the Word of Thanks donation site for your 100th weekly campaign. Isn't it great to be part of something that's really moving the needle and crashing websites? That and your feedback next. This week is your 100th weekly Word of Thanks micro-giving campaign. So we're going big impact this week. We're partnering with a group of women in our community who each year pool their own donations, more than $100,000 worth. And then we're going to work with that group, Impact 100, so that we can boost 3 nonprofits at once. Number 1, Learning Source. They help adults in our community learn English, get a high school degree, whatever further education they need. Volunteers for Outdoor Colorado's been around nearly 40 years. They rally an army of volunteers for projects beautifying every corner of our state. And Mikasa Resource Center is where women and families can bring an idea and turn it into a small business. It's hands-on entrepreneurship education that changes lives. If you scan that QR code on your screen or text the word thanks to 303-871-1491, I'll send you that link to join me in giving. Most of your feedback tonight is about the fact that you all have crashed the website through your generosity. Not the first time that's happened in 100 campaigns. Please, if you would, be patient. Would love to have you be a part of this. Hey, and we got a message from the Civic Center Conservancy, the very first nonprofit that we ever featured, telling you congrats and thanks for your impact. See you next time.